Welcome back to the Docker file options section of the Getting Started with Docker course. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the workdir directive. So let's look at what that looks like. So let's come down here in our Docker file documentation. We'll come down and look at the workdir or work directory. What this does is it sets a working directory to use in our container. And that's one of the things that first had me questioning, what was the workdir for? Is it my local machine or is it inside the container? And the answer is it's inside the container. So what this does is it sets a path for us so we can then use that as a starting point. So if we were to use this over here, what we could do is say the workdir is going to be /usr/local/apache2/htdocs, which means I can replace all of this with dot, or the local directory, the current directory. The other bonus here is if this path did not exist, then workdir will create it. And that's even if you don't use this path, which means if I said workdir and then said, let's do app. What this will do, since I didn't specify a path, I made it relative, which means it will create a folder called app inside of htdocs. And now this path is going to be usr/local/apache2/htdocs/app. Now it's not what we want to do, so let's not do that, but that does illustrate what we can do with this command. One of the benefits here is, let's just say you're creating a final container that's going to hold your production source code. Well, maybe you want to store that in a specific folder. Let's just say down here, that's what we're doing. We could say workdir, and let's give it a name of /mycoolapp, which doesn't exist in the container. That's okay. It'll create that. And now we can say dot down here, and it will put the value of these files from base. It'll put these files into this folder, the dot, which is /mycoolapp, which just got created. Okay, so that's how workdir works. Notice up here, if you did /a, then b, then c for workdir, that what it'll do is it'll create /a/b/c because of the fact that these last two are relative. And that's really all there is to workdir or working directory. Now it is able to use the environmental variables, which we have not covered, the env. And I don't plan to do a full video on this either. We didn't cover the add in the last video because we've covered copy, and that's the much more common command. And the same thing in the env. This allows us to set up environmental variables. For example, we set up dir path, and so it's a key and a value essentially. And I can use the $ and this name, where if we want to replace that with its value, which in this case is /path. So $dir path would be the path /path/ and then of course the dir name, which we don't have yet. So we can use environmental variables that way, and there's a couple other uses for them, but for the most part, I don't find them used a lot in Docker file commands. And you may find that that's not true for you. You may use them quite a bit, and that's great. In which case, just look up env, and essentially all it is just key value after the env command, and then access it using the $ key. That's it. So that's the env. You can use that with working directory in order to set a working directory based upon a variable. Okay, but for the most part, you set the working directory to whatever you want in the container, not locally, in the container. And then if that path does not exist, it will create it. And then it will move your working directory to that directory, meaning that your relative paths start off in that location. So now dot is this folder. If I said dot /app, then I'd be saying that actually it's inside the htdocs folder. There's a folder called app, and that's where I want you to put my files. In this case I don't, I just want the dot command. And that's really all there is to the working directory. Therefore, let's go ahead and move on to the next video where we'll cover yet another command we can put in the Docker file.